with these guys being named to the all-conference preseason, all-conference Big 12 list, and is usually, I guess, it's the usual suspects or the kind of the guys you would expect based off of what they did last year, whether they played at Colorado or at the other schools where they transferred in from. As we go down it, but anybody on the list that you might be like, dang, he could have easily been on there. He's not mentioned, or he could have easily been on there. Uh, Anybody comes to mind off the top?
Man, let me take a different approach. Let me take a slightly different approach.
Okay.
Because let me tell you what. Let me ask you a question first. Clearly, Jimmy Horn Jr. could have been on here anywhere, whether that's receiver, punt return, that kind of thing. But one of the things that were glaring to me, I love the guys who are listed, but then when I look at what they're listed for, when you got Shedeur Sanders, second team. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, I'm elated that he's listed. When I look at all Big 12, preseason, if you ain't got that guy in the first slot, like what do you got? What do you got to do? And same thing with like on defense, BJ Green and that kind of thing. But when I look at that Athlon Sports Big 12 list, again, you got people like a Jimmy Horn Jr. could be on the same thing with the preseason All-American guys. So not so much glaring to me as who's mentioned. What got my attention is, what team they were mentioned on.
Right. And if you guys don't know, Travis Hunter is on the first team all-purpose offense and then defense at cornerback also. First team.
Which he should be.
Of course.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you could have easily added special teams in there, but I know people haven't seen that from him yet. But he has been working out at returner and getting up on that as well. So Travis is one of those generational lifetime talents, man. He's going to qualify for first team no matter where he's touching the ball.
Also from the Buffs, special teams punt returner LeJontay Wester. Mm-hmm. He had over 100 catches last year from the slot, so that put him also as the second team offense wide receiver for the Athlon Sports All Big 12 squad, along with Shedeur Sanders at quarterback, second team. Then you go down to BJ Green, second team defensive line. Shiloh Sanders, second team.
I just got to stop again, man.
Stop us. Let's go.
How's your second team?
I have no idea, dog. I wish I had the first team in front of me and what that guy did last year.
Yeah.
Because off the top of my head, I don't know who it is. But regardless, I doubt if he had 20-plus touchdowns and 3 interceptions, three or less interceptions.
And I'm looking forward to seeing who was first and second team over Mark Vassett as punter. They got Vassett as third. When you look at that guy's ball placement and stats, again, what an honor to be Big 12 preseason mention. I get it, not knocking that. But I would have thought that a Shedeur and a Vassett and even Shiloh, with what they were able to do in big games last year, regardless of the team record, I thought their individual stats were enough that they should be talked about in that first team slot.
You have Trevor Woods on this list, but you don't have Levante Bentley, who was on the list last year preseason. How do you feel about that?
It doesn't make sense to me, because one, I got to look at, as Janet Jackson said, "What have you done for me lately?" And I understand, Jordan Seaton.
Done for me lately?
Exactly. Jordan Seaton being fourth team because he hadn't done anything yet. He's a true freshman, and so you're going off the hope and wish factor. But when you look at Bentley and what he accomplished last season, even if it failed to meet your individual expectations, he did not have a bad year that will drop him totally off the list of expectations. And then you have a Trevor Woods, who was switching positions and got him up to fourth. To me, Bentley has to be second or third in that. If you're able to say that Trevor is 4, moving to the position, then what Bentley did with the position, I can't wait to see the rest of the list. Who were they picking over these guys, last season?
Right. And Deion Hayes, third team defensive end, defensive lineman after that season he had last year at Pittsburgh. But having said that, he was rated, if I'm not mistaken, the second highest rated defender on the Pittsburgh squad last year. I think Okunlola was rated higher than him, but he's not on this list. But Hayes is. Is there something you think these voters are seeing or something like that? Well, why do you think Hayes? Well, I don't want to say it like, why do I think Hayes? But how do you see Hayes being on the list but not Okunlola?
Again, same situation. that shouldn't be the case. And then you shouldn't have somebody at third and then somebody totally off, much like the Trevor Woods Bentley situation.
Bentley
Like,
situation. Yeah.
if both should be on, if one of them is on. But I think maybe some of these guys, man, because what Coach Prime went out and did was not only got players out of the portal, he got players who played. He got players who
Mm-hmm.
made an impact where they're coming from. And maybe some of these voters, didn't see a lot of film on these guys, or don't think that may transfer from conference to conference. Uh, and so, whereas I want to take the people who transferred in with a grain of salt and say, well, maybe you didn't see them play, so you don't know. You got several guys who you did see play. Like again, a Mark Vassett, you got him at third team. Uh, I don't know. I don't know how they came up with it. I'm happy to see so many people from Coach Prime squad listed. Particularly Wester listed twice, Travis at one, but it's still not adding up to me, Big Dog, to have a Shador Sanders with all he accomplished. In the second team, and Fassett on third.
All right. Jalen Daniels, the quarterback from Kansas, is listed as the first team. I'm going to bring up Jalen Daniels' stats and see
And
and
while you
compare him
bring the
to
stats, I would
Shador.
say this as it relates to the new Big 12. You have people leaving the Big 12 and all of us coming into it. I'm willing to acquiesce that you're going to have some Utah guys because that's a program. Utah has done a hell of a job over the decades. Being a quote unquote overlooked powerhouse. They consistently play ball there, bring in better talent. Much like an Oklahoma State. But when you look at the conference as a whole last year, the now defunct or gone away Pac-12 was a much better conference than the Big 12 last year. Record wise and ranking wise. So to me, the guys coming from the Big 12, such as the Utah guys you name, they should be the ones getting more mention than the people who are already there.
I'm sorry. I'm making these faces because are you kidding me? This can't be his full stats. And how would this warrant him to be first team all conference right now? 2023, he had 56 completions, 75 attempts,
Man, stop it.
70.
Stop it. Stop. Stop
What
it.
in the hell going on, dog?
Yeah, stop it.
74% completion, 705 total yards, 9.4 yard average, 5 TDs, 1 interception, 173 rating. What is this? Just off projection? Off what do they think he's going to do? How
Yeah,
would they put that
that's
over a guy who done something?
yeah. See, that's what I was about to say, Chico. Now, a big part of this is certainly what I expect you to do this year, this conference against these opponents. But to me and for me, and I know you feel the same way, Coach. Having been a player, coach as well, is that the best indicator of future performance is past performance.
Right.
And when I look at your past performance and I see Shador listed as second team quarterback, that was just the first red flag to me. I was happy to see his face, happy to see his name, but then I went to the fine print where it says second team. I was like,
You like what?
what the dude got to do? Like he was mentioned for Heisman the first 5 games of the season.
And you got a guy on the first team that didn't even have 100 attempts last year. Yeah, well, he might have gotten hurt or something, but the year before, 2022, 152 completions, 230 attempts, 66 completion percent, 2,000 yards, 8-yard average, 18 TDs, and 4 interceptions. Where on there does it say I'm way better than Shador Sanders? Maybe you can go to the rating. He had 162 for his rating. Maybe they're saying, what he did, what the time that he had to play, the plays that he did play, the attempts that he had, look what he did with that. But still, I can't see that being projected as being better than what Shador Sanders has shown and what he can do this year with a better offensive line and better wide receivers. That's crazy.
And a revamped offense under a new coordinator, a new quarterback. I mean, you just name how vastly different these things are. And I'm glancing over to the side, reading this list again. Yeah, I'm with you, Big Dog. I don't make sense of it, but congratulations to the guys that made it. I do think that the guys that made it will be not only proven to be justified on this team. I
Mm-hmm.
think that when the dust settles, the guys who are currently listed are going to be up a notch, and then you're going to have people like a JB, a Jeremiah Brown,
Hmm.
be on the list at the end of the season.
Yeah. Now we're not hating on the list, guys. We're just questioning that one spot. The obvious glaring spot was Shador Sanders, and then you have a kid who has a high upside in Jalen Daniels, but just hadn't had that past success like Shador Sanders has, and put up those numbers. But the rest of this list: Oli Gordon at running back, Todd Brooks from Texas Tech, Travis Hunter with the all-purpose. My favorite wide receiver. I might be a little bit biased because he was the Mr. Football from out here in Hawaii. Tetairoa McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona. We saw a lot of him last year. He going up against Travis Hunter, a big-time football player, man. About 6'4", can run, can jump. Familiar with Travis because they played against each other in the Polynesian Bowl out here and had a nice little battle. So he came into that Colorado game, I feel like, with a little bit of confidence or a chip on his shoulder to show that he can really play against Travis Hunter.
What conference was he in last year?
Exactly, Pac-12.
And where is he now this year?
Big 12, yeah.
And so I'm telling you, man, these guys who are coming from the now defunct Pac-12 into the Big 12, there should be more of them on this list because the Pac-12 from top to bottom, I mean, outperformed the SEC for parts of the season. You know, you have 4 teams in the Pac-12 run, and that's one of the things that get lost when people talk about Coach Prime's, 4 wins last year. Man, we were playing. You could laugh about how the Big 12 died and went away, but their final year, the Pac-12 was one of, if not the toughest conference in the nation each weekend.
Look at the top quarterbacks in college football, where they come from last year. Yeah. Look at the ones drafted, and Bo Nix and Michael Penix.
And so
look at what Cam Ward did.
When I look at this list, the Bo Nix and Michael Penix can't be on it because they've gone. How do you have to do a second team? Like, he balled out in the Premier Conference last year, switching to a quote-unquote weaker conference if you compare year to year. I'm not saying the Big 12 was weak. I'm saying last year's Big 12 compared to last year's Pac-12. I can't make rhyme or reason of it, man.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. Well, I know how I feel like it's going to play out, but it's just crazy. I think they might have that might be some stuff where people do that, so that people can talk about it, kind of like clickbaitish, or kind of, you know what, we're going to put Shador second team instead of first team and let these people go crazy and talk whatever it is. I definitely don't feel like that guy's better.
No, you probably got a couple of voters mad that they didn't get Lil Wayne tickets or something. Ain't no telling.
And you know what Luigi said? So if you ain't on the team, yeah. All right.